Today we're getting into the latest tech, EV, and Tesla news, including Tesla's new $2 billion battery deal, another new Tesla getting vehicle-to-load capability, Nvidia entering the Robotaxi market, and more, so let's get into it. First up today, Tesla is always experimenting with different offers and incentives. Sometimes it's a price decrease, sometimes you get a discount by using someone's referral link when buying a new Tesla, sometimes you get free supercharging, and that's what they're doing this time. But they're offering 2,000 miles of free supercharging to buyers who trade in a gas or hybrid vehicle towards a new Tesla. Tesla specifically says this is 2,000 free supercharger miles, although the actual value will depend on your model's efficiency and then regional supercharger prices. For example, a Model Y getting around 3.5 miles per kilowatt hour, that will mean about 570 kilowatt hours, which at about 40 cents per kilowatt hour works out to about $228. So it is a little bit of an incentive and a value here, but not that big of one when you consider you're trading in your car to Tesla, potentially taking a cheaper price on that trade-in, which Tesla is known for, and then only really getting about $228 worth of free supercharging in return. Still, it is quite nice to get a new Tesla vehicle and then be able to charge it for a little bit completely for free, but of course you have to consider the long term here. You must trade in a gas or hybrid vehicle specifically, and EV trade-ins do not count for this. This offer is credited to the buyer's Tesla account, and if you don't use those 2,000 miles in a timely manner, they expire 2 years after your vehicle delivery. Also, pre-owned Tesla vehicles are not eligible, but that makes sense since that's an EV as well. This new incentive is arriving around the same time that Tesla is increasing lease pricing. Those increased on November 4th. One thing I do think that Tesla may be using this incentive for is just to let people try out the supercharger network right after getting their car. It's a little bit of an incentive that even if you charge at home, you can go experiment with the supercharger network and use up those free miles. And then you see how seamless and easy this network is. Maybe there's someone out there that's buying a new Tesla vehicle and planning just to charge at home, because they think that EVs are just impossible to charge out in the wild because they've heard horror stories from other brands. This would allow them to go experiment with it and then see how it's actually very reliable in the real world, and maybe they'd be willing to try a road trip that they previously wouldn't have. In any case, that's just the latest incentive, and I'll be sure to keep you posted because surely things will be developing throughout Q4 now that the EV tax credit is gone. Next up today, the latest updates in upcoming products for Tesla. The biggest new product here is the Cybercab. This is their dedicated Robotaxi vehicle, and these have been spotted out in the wild for the first time. This one was spotted in Los Altos, California, which is about 10 minutes away from Tesla's engineering headquarters, where they would be dialing in the Cybercab for full production. Production will begin at Giga Texas, supposedly in Q2 of 2026, but for now they're obviously working on the final details. Of course, for this testing, someone was in the driver's seat, and then this one had a steering wheel. Another one was spotted in Palo Alto as well, and then in response to a different photo, Tesla's lead engineer for the Cybercab said, "If you like this, just wait." Now, there are a number of design changes people have noticed since the original unveil at their We Robot event that took place at Warner Brothers Studios in Los Angeles. First, it seems that they may have gotten rid of the door frame, which matches other Tesla vehicles. Of course, there's still a frame there, but when you open that door, or when the door opens, it will just have the window there, not a frame traveling with it. People also noticed a bunch of other design changes when Tesla took this out to In-N-Out. This is kind of a tradition at Tesla. When a car is close to release, the engineers will take it through In-N-Out Burger. The first change here is that the front side repeater camera has been moved slightly forward. And then there's a slightly redesigned front end and light bar area. There's also a longer front lower lip. The B-pillar area is redesigned a little bit to have moved slightly forward. There's no gold paint on the tires like there was at that unveil. And then of course this has a front license plate holder. That's because this is meeting with current criteria that requires all of these things, including the side mirrors that this car has. There are also front amber reflectors near the wheel arch. And then the headlights appear to be production ready and meeting all requirements so that they can actually ship this car in the United States under current regulation. Of course, production out of Giga Texas has yet to be seen, but many are very excited to see this car out in the wild with a steering wheel. They're particularly excited as well after Tesla's board chair said, quote, "If we have to have a steering wheel, it can have a steering wheel and pedals." She likely said this just to qualm any fears that Tesla will be further delayed by this car because of regulation here. But then Elon Musk had another interview this week very specifically saying we're not putting a steering wheel in them. People may think they want to drive their car, but the reality is they don't. I think at the end of the day, long term, sure, people probably don't want to drive their car. But today, people are excited about the potential of a Cybercab with a steering wheel because it's a cheaper, smaller package finally coming from Tesla that isn't just stripped back. And then it's something that they could drive while we're still waiting on full self-driving progress. I know a lot of customers have version 14 of full self-driving, and at this point it's gotten very good, but there are still plenty of bugs for them to work out. I was experimenting with it the other day, and I had it actually pull me out of a paid parking lot at Burbank Airport. This was very interesting because it fully pulled me up to the payment kiosk, and I was able to proceed with that, and then it didn't pull forward until the gate itself opened. It handled all of that perfectly and autonomously. Then it did the new windshield wiper thing where it cleaned in front of the front cameras, and then it fully pulled to the side of the road for an ambulance, all within the span of about 2 minutes. Now, it was a little weird because it pulled out when I would have started driving again for the ambulance once it was pretty far ahead, but then it kind of heard that sound again or saw it and pulled completely to the side again when it didn't need to. Then I've noticed, especially off of highways, there is a ton of extra brake stabbing. It is just way more cautious than it needs to be. And these are the kind of things where we see the latest version come to be and there's a ton of promise there, but then you really experience it and go, oh wow, there's still a lot of bugs. And this is the kind of thing that I think worries people and why people are very excited at the potential of a steering wheel coming to the Cybercab, because that could mean Tesla could still proceed with production even while they're waiting on full self-driving to be solved, which at this point they're long overdue on. In any case, they are making good progress on this network, and we'll see those bugs hopefully get fixed really soon here. But Tesla's Robotaxi network is also expanding. A validation car was spotted in Scottsdale, Arizona, which is near Phoenix, so this is indicating that a launch could come very soon there. Of course, the Cybercab is a smaller vehicle, but on the larger side of things, Tesla has been shipping the Model Y L in China, and they just announced a new feature there that we weren't sure was coming to this car. Vehicle-to-load capability is a really great part of EVs, where you can power things using that large battery pack. Tesla first brought this with the Cybertruck, and this can fully back up your home using PowerShare, and now they announced that this capability is coming to the Model Y Performance. It's not as powerful as the Cybertruck, but you can power certain devices and tools and other things using the vehicle's charge port. Now they have announced that this is also coming to the brand new Model Y L out of China. This makes a lot of sense, but it is something that is good to see. I'm very excited for the day when this feature arrives on all of Tesla's vehicles, because there are plenty of times when people have their electric car parked at their home with plenty of battery to power their house, and then their house has no energy because of a blackout. Within a few years, this will probably be standard on electric cars across the board, and I'm excited to see it. Now, of course, for the future of the Cybercab and the Robotaxi, all of that relies on Tesla's future AI chips. And Elon Musk tweeted about this week, saying, quote, "Just finished a long AI5 design review with the Tesla California and Texas chip engineers. It's going to be great, and AI6 and AI7 will follow in fast succession. AI8 will be out of this world." This tweet almost sounds like a joke, because this is like releasing the iPhone 17 and hyping that up, and then talking about the iPhone 21 at the same time. But at the end of the day, this is how product roadmaps work at these companies that are looking long term. I'm sure that Apple kind of knows what the iPhone 21 will probably look like and what features they want to bring to it. But it takes a long time to get there, and then for the supply chain to work like that. It's just that here, Elon Musk is laying it all out, and laying it all out for customers that are currently looking at their cars going, well, do I buy an AI4 car if AI8 is going to be out of this world? Maybe I just wait another 5 years to buy this car. Elon Musk always talks like this, very much looking into the full future here, but it's just funny to see it fully numbered out with how many versions of a chip they're planning to launch, because seemingly all of these chips would come to their cars in various refreshes. So this is seemingly at least 4 years away, but of course this development is always changing. Also, he's talking about all of these future chips while Tesla is only delivering the latest version of full self-driving on hardware 4 cars for the moment, and people with hardware 3 are still waiting for what they're calling a light version sometime next year. Next up today, Tesla has reportedly secured a new battery supply deal with Samsung SDI, and this one is worth over 3 trillion won, or about $2.1 billion. This is for delivery over a 3-year period, and it's specifically not for Tesla vehicles. This is actually for Tesla's energy division. This will be for products like Tesla's MagBak, their new Mega Block, and of course the Powerwall, which is the consumer version of those products. Samsung SDI officially said nothing has been finalized yet, so this deal remains a reported agreement rather than a confirmed contract, but it does seem like something we'll hear about getting confirmed in the near future here. Tesla is always working on these big battery supply deals, and they keep having to renew them as they get into the future and see what supply they actually really need. It appears that the battery cells here will be LFP, lithium iron phosphate, and they will not be in the 4680 battery cell format that Tesla has introduced for their EVs. While we've seen things kind of slow down for EVs from Tesla, even though last quarter was their best ever, on the stationary storage side of things, they are actually supply constrained when it comes to batteries, which is why we're seeing new deals like this. This deal reportedly stacks on top of previous deals that Tesla has made with LG Energy Solutions for stationary storage batteries and BYD as well as CATL. So this deal is part of its effort to diversify away from exclusively getting Chinese supply because of tariffs and more things like that. As always, it's very interesting to watch this develop because Tesla, even when they were introducing their new 4680 battery cells, was very clear that they would still be using suppliers. And now we really haven't seen the 4680s ramp up quite at all like Tesla told us about in 2020. In fact, today they're only used in the Cybertruck. While they did want to vertically integrate, and we'll probably see them continuing to do that in the future, companies that specialize in battery supply are just very good at it, and it makes sense that Tesla moves forward with these suppliers in the meantime. Next up today, some bad news for Tesla Insurance. California regulators have accused Tesla Insurance Services, and State National Insurance of widespread, repeated violations in handling auto insurance claims. The allegations here include egregious delays, unreasonable denials, incomplete or unfair investigations, and then failure to inform policyholders of their rights. The CDI, which is the California Department of Insurance, says that complaints have surged since 2022, with nearly 3,000 violations and 1,400 plus customer complaints as of late 2025. Regulators describe the behavior as systematic failures, not just isolated mistakes. So this report came out about a month ago, but Tesla and partners reportedly had about 15 days to respond to this order to show cause. And penalties could reach $5,000 per violation or $10,000 per willful violation, plus potential license suspension or revocation. Essentially, the CDI says that this action is to ensure that Tesla honors California insurance law. We'll see how this investigation goes, but it could be a bad thing for Tesla Insurance because California is one of Tesla's largest brands and probably one of the states where they insure the most people under Tesla Insurance. Hopefully this can get fixed and we'll see what the results of this investigation are, but overall it's definitely not a good look for another Tesla product. Next up today, some updates for the Cybertruck. First, the terrestrial armor package can now be ordered when you configure a Cybertruck. This is their new $3,000 package that they say includes, quote, underbody battery shield and heavy-duty rock sliders for superior protection against rugged terrain, rough roads, and curbs. I think making this available to order with your car makes a lot of sense. At the same time, the Cybertruck is facing a new recall. The Foundation Series, model year 2024 vehicles that had an optional off-road light bar accessory installed by service are being recalled. The issue here is that the light bar may have been bonded by the windshield using the incorrect surface primer, which could lead to the accessory detaching while driving, which of course would pose a road hazard risk. This is specific to the Cyber Beast, and people had these installed after the fact at service, and some people noticed it was simply being glued on. So here it seems it wasn't done well enough, and now it's being recalled. This affects vehicles manufactured between November 13th of 2023 and November 5th of 2024. So of course the remedy is that at no cost to customers, Tesla will inspect the light bar for delamination or damage. If present, it will be replaced using the proper process. So under this recall, it's estimated to affect about 6,197 Cybertrucks. Now, speaking of the Cybertruck, full self-driving is a big part of this truck as well, because actually there's no basic autopilot included in the Cybertruck. You either get standard traffic-aware cruise control or you upgrade fully to full self-driving. Even though the Cybertruck is Tesla's flagship vehicle essentially, with all of the latest technology that they have, FSD versions lag behind on this, and Tesla's head of AI said most likely by the end of this month, FSD version 14 would be coming to that truck. Well, of course that didn't come because that tweet was from October, but now he says, sorry, pushing for early access cyber release over the weekend. It seems that no matter what for the near future here, we're going to see hardware for Tesla vehicles like the Model 3 and Y get the latest version of FSD first. Then we'll see it come to the Model S and X probably around the same time. then the Cybertruck, and then Hardware 3 vehicles. At a certain point though, somewhere in that chain, cars will probably be left out with certain versions. That's how technology works, but it's just unfortunate here because Tesla always promises they'll be able to deliver this on all of their cars. For full self-driving on the Cybertruck, it is actually starting to roll out to a limited number of early access customers with version 14.1.5. So this is good news to see here. It's coming just a couple of weeks after version 14 first launched on their other vehicles, and we'll see how it performs in the real world on the Cybertruck. For version 13 of FSD, it was significantly noticeably worse on the Cybertruck, so I'm curious to see how this compares to version 14 on other Tesla vehicles. For the Cybertruck specifically though, it's kind of become a niche vehicle that they have to design around. And this week we've seen that SpaceX is buying a ton of Cybertrucks, and it kind of raises the question, are they just buying all of the unsold Cybertrucks? One of Elon's companies is just buying them from one of Elon's companies? It probably makes sense for SpaceX to replace their fleet of trucks with Cybertrucks, because they kind of fit the whole image of SpaceX as a whole, and they're all electric. But regardless, the size of this fleet just kind of seems like maybe it's a different place for Tesla to park their Cybertrucks. In any case, Elon Musk said Cybertrucks get preferential parking as they look much more futuristic than normal cars and are poetically aligned with the stainless steel of Starship. We'll see how these trucks end up getting used by SpaceX, but at the end of the day, it really just shows how intertwined all of Elon's companies are. Next up today, Elon Musk was interviewed this week talking about the new Tesla Roadster, and he confirmed that a prototype demo of the next-gen Tesla Roadster is getting close. He said, "One thing I can guarantee is that this product demo will be unforgettable. I think it has a shot at being the most memorable product unveil ever." Originally, the Roadster was unveiled in 2017 with ambitious specs at the time, a 0 to 60 in 1.9 seconds, a 620-mile range, and a 250-plus mile-per-hour top speed. Later, they claimed it would be under 1 second for the 0 to 60 with the SpaceX package. But of course, they talked about this coming in 2020. Now it's 2025, and we're still waiting to see a demo of the latest features of this car, hopefully by the end of this year. At this point, Elon Musk has talked about a lot of tech that will be coming to this car, and he essentially said if you combine all of James Bond's cars, this will have cooler technology. We're already into November, so it seems very unlikely we're going to see this demo by the end of 2025, but it's supposed to be pretty exceptional when it comes. But then, of course, comes the question of when this will actually be made, if it will be legal to actually be sold with whatever capabilities they show, like flying and more. What are your thoughts on the Tesla Roadster, though? Are you excited to see all this insane technology, or is it just kind of pointless and a distraction for them? Leave a comment below to let me know your thoughts. Last up today, some updates from other tech companies and automakers. Over at Nvidia, they have partnered with Uber to launch a large-scale global Robotaxi network. They plan to combine human-driven and autonomous rides starting in 2027. Uber plans to deploy up to 100,000 autonomous vehicles that use Nvidia's Drive AGX Hyperion 10 platform. This platform provides Level 4 ready hardware with dual drive Thor chips, cameras, radars, LiDAR, and full sensor integration for automakers. Both companies will use Nvidia's Cosmos AI data factory to train and manage the autonomous fleet with real-world driving data, and this comes along other companies like Stellantis, Volvo, Aurora, and Mercedes-Benz that are adopting this same ecosystem. This partnership kind of highlights the main competition that Tesla's going to have into the future. Tesla uses a ton of Nvidia's products, but at the same time, Nvidia is working on their own self-driving technology that essentially will be competing with Tesla. Tesla will kind of own the entire thing with what they're designing with the Robotaxi and Cybercab, and they can make those cars themselves, compared to Nvidia partnering with Uber that will actually have to partner with other automakers to make these cars. But regardless, it's showing us what the future is going to be. Somebody is going to solve this, and then we're going to probably have a lot of competition there. Over at Jeep, they have issued a recall for about 24,238 units of the 2023 to 2024 model year Wrangler 4xe plug-in hybrid. This is due to an unfortunate problem stemming from an over-the-air software update that was faulty. This faulty update was pushed around October 10th and affected communication between the vehicle's telematics box module and the hybrid control processor, which in turn caused some vehicles to lose power or become entirely inoperative. Owners reported issues such as sudden power loss while driving, error messages, and vehicles that just wouldn't start. This recall covers all of the affected vehicles in those model years, so it's about 24,238 units. For now, Stellantis has implemented a back-end policy update to prevent power loss, but they note that the final software fix is still in development, and this will have to get fixed very soon here at service centers in particular. This is one of those very unfortunate downsides of over-the-air software updates that shows how important it is to absolutely get these right. I think we've seen this kind of thing happen once with Rivian, where they very quickly pulled a release and some people had their vehicles bricked. But I don't think, at least in recent times, we've seen anything like this happen from Tesla. So it's very important to get these updates 100% correct so that this kind of thing doesn't happen. Otherwise, it leads to this future where people just don't want to update their cars because they're afraid of things like this happening. That's all the latest tech, EV, and Tesla news for today. So in the meantime, if you want to see the 21 mistakes that many Tesla and EV owners make and how to avoid them, you can check out that video linked up here or in the description below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.